Okay, hello. I was very, very ambitious with my TBR for April, but I did okay. Let's take a look. Okay, so if you go back, I'm gonna put it in the cards. If you look at my April TBR, you're gonna notice that I've never done a TBR before, and I was clearly very ambitious. I didn't do it that well, but I think I did okay. We are going to be talking about the books I've read in the month of April, and I read a few. I think I read 6, and I'm halfway through 2 of the other ones that were on my list. So I think that's a pretty good month. We're gonna start with My Darling Duke by Stacey Reid, which is a romance novel that I read just because I had a off day at work, and it was like a holiday, and I felt like reading something that was really fun and really trashy and really short. So I just went on like Peace Love Books, and it has a pretty cover. It has purple in the cover, and I was like, sure, I'm gonna read that. It was fine. As romance books go, it was pretty fun. Like the characters had good chemistry. They were bantering. There was like this mystery, not mystery, but there was something different about the story because the hero of the story, he had like a disability, and he had to like grapple with that part of his life, and it was enjoyable to read. My problem with those kind of romance books is that when it gets to a certain point, I don't mind knowing the ending, and I don't mind knowing the beats to the ending, but there's one part that I really hate, which is we're somewhere around like the 80% mark. The couple will break up, and you're just gonna have to wait until they don't. It's like the rom-com scenario, and it works for me in movies because movies are quicker, but I don't want to read through like the navel gazing of a couple that are gonna go back together. It's just annoying to me. So that part wasn't fun. I might have skimmed a tiny little bit, but I did fine, and it was okay. So I read that one. The next book on my little tiny list is Out of a Silent Planet, which I had started before the month of April began. I'm going to put a picture here because I have the book, but I didn't want to bring it outside. But it was a fun book. I read it for the read-along that's happening on the Musical Bookworms channel. And I watched the live show, the live stream about it. It was fun. It was great. It is sci-fi, and it is very speculative and very philosophical sci-fi, but it was less than I was thinking of. Different from Peralandra, which is the second book, which was a lot more in the philosophical sense. The first book is a lot more environmental, but the second book like lays heavy on the philosophy, which C.S. Lewis is known for, and I enjoy it. I actually am enjoying book 2 a lot more than I enjoyed book 1, but it was fun. It was short, and I enjoyed it very much. I am 60% into Peralandra, which I was supposed to be over with by now, but I had a midterm week this month that killed me. So I'm gonna be done with it by next week or something. Then we're gonna be talking about Conjuring of Light. The Conjuring of Light is the 3rd book on the Shades of Magic trilogy. I'm gonna have a series review up in the channel at some point, probably somewhere around the middle of the week. And it was fun. It was a good book. I still preferred book 2 on the trilogy, but it was a good wrap up. It did close all the ties, and it was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable read. And the audiobook, again, Kate Redding and Michael Crichton, they just do it for everybody. They're great. Okay, so then I read The Fires of Heaven, which is book 5 in the Wheel of Time series, and I loved it. It was my favorite Wheel of Time ever. It was just so fun. I enjoyed everything about that book. Like, there's many complaints about, I'm going to try not to spoil anything if you haven't read The Wheel of Time. It is a very long book series. It has 14 books, unless you count the prequel. If you count the prequel, there's like 15. They're really hefty, large books. And people complain that sometimes it drags, and then sometimes it has like unnecessary plot points, and people complain about like the romance in the books, and I can see all of those complaints as being true. But particularly in this book, none of them annoyed me. The characters are very deep, and they're very set in their own ways, and I felt like there was a lot of growth. Book 4 and book 5 had a lot of growth for all of the characters. I enjoy watching Rand a lot more. Matt does not annoy me as much, and even though Perrin wasn't in book 5, I enjoyed quite a lot, which is important because Perrin is my favorite character. So yeah, I loved book 5. It was very, very fun. I was supposed to start on Lord of Chaos, but again, midterm week killed me completely. I'm gonna start very soon, and I anticipate loving it too, because if it keeps on the same vein, everybody says that like the slog begins at like book 7, I believe, or maybe book 8. But I mean, book 6, I'm hoping is gonna be good, because book 5 was my first 5-star read of the Wheel of Time series so far. Then something happened. I read The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo in a day and a half. That doesn't happen. Like when I get an audiobook, I usually listen to it while I'm working, because I do a lot of manual labor, and while I'm like going for a run, or maybe cleaning my room or something. But The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is so gripping. The audiobook is so good. There's like 3 narrators for the audiobook, and it just grabs your attention and takes you away with it. And I sat down and was just like looking at space and reading it, because it felt like the best way of experiencing this story. It is the story about a woman, a journalist, that gets called in to do an interview with like the most famous actress of old Hollywood ever. You know, it's very much almost as if like Marilyn Monroe was still alive. And this is a very private woman, and this woman, this journalist gets invited to go and ask her things, which is like a golden opportunity. And then you get to listen to her life, Evelyn Hugo, you get to listen to her life through the eyes of this journalist. And it's really gripping. Like the story of Evelyn Hugo feels like a real story. She feels like a real character. She has real flaws, and like listening to the whole shebang with like all the 7 husbands and how that happened, that's all very, very enjoyable. I gave it like a 4.5 stars, because my only problem with this book is the main character, not Evelyn Hugo, but like the journalist. I didn't care about her storyline all that much. Like the idea is that she learned with Evelyn and had to be like a bigger, stronger woman, and I just didn't jive with her personality as much as I did with Evelyn Hugo. And also because everybody keeps saying that like the twist at the end is really what grips everybody about this book, and I guessed it. It might have been because everybody keeps telling me that the twist is good. That's why I guessed it. But I guessed it, so I dropped a star because of that. But it was still an amazing literary fiction novel. I recommend it to you if you like books, honestly, because I don't like literary fiction and I'm not really into memoirs at all. But yes, go read it. Then I read Ancillary Justice, which has a review up in the channel. I'm gonna link it somewhere over here. It is sci-fi, it is confusing, but it was quite fun, and I'm supposed to be reading book 2 this month somewhere with my best friend, and let's see how I feel about book 2, if it's less confusing or if I'm still a dumb bitch. At the end, so those are the books that I finished. I started reading Peralandra, which I talked about, and I'm 70% in The Blade Itself, which is the first book in the first Law trilogy by Joe Abercrombie, and I love it so much. It is, everybody says that like this book has no plot, and then you have to just enjoy the characters and enjoy being with them, and I have no problem with that. First of all, I felt like no plot is a little bit too harsh. It doesn't have a plot, and as in it doesn't have a goal, like it doesn't have a clear goal. You don't know exactly what the characters are doing, but you clearly see things unfolding, and even though you don't know what it is, you know that like something big is going to be at the end of this journey you're going through, and I can't wait to know what it is. So I will have a review of this book at some point. I don't know if I wait to do like a serious review, if I do like a book by book thing. I guess we'll find out, but it was really fun. Thank you for everybody in the Michael's Discord that told me to read it, because I love it, and the narrator for this is he's great. I love all of his interpretation of all of the characters. He gives personality to each and every one of them, and I'm enjoying that very, very much. So at the end, I read 6 books. I started there too, so I'm like at the 8-ish book mark, and I feel like that's a good idea. Let's see how this month of May goes. I'm not gonna be doing a TBR for it, because I'm gonna have a lot of academic things to get together. But I'll keep y'all posted. Thank you for watching this video, and if you drop a comment, we get to talk a little bit more, and that's just a win-win for everybody. I'll see you all later. Bye.